My name is Oshifes Larry. I'm a mechanic. Welcome to Exxon F1, also known as Formula One Column Africa. Good day! Please, like I've always clamored, please. I know you love what you're doing. Subscribe to my channel. Love it. I beg, like be on my channel. You get the best news. I love you guys. Like, comment, share. Some of you come to my inbox, my DM to comment. Yeah, it's good, but sometimes also comment on this social media. It helps my growth. Like, share. Share, please. It's very important you share. I love you guys. It's a new day. This video is ahead of Losail Grand Prix in Qatar. And in this video, these are the things we'll be talking about. We'll be talking about Philip Janos Ghana. That will be saying I'll be talking about the rest of this year. I'll be talking about that boy. He's a wonderful boy representing Nigeria. I'll be talking about the Losail track, what to watch out for in Losail track, the ticketing, the Gulf Coast, that's the Gulf countries, the Gulf Cooperation Council, that's for the Gulf countries. I'll be talking about some little things we can do to get ourselves on the map. So first, let me talk about the 16-year-old boy, Philip. His name is Philip Janos Ghana. There are so many things I want to say about him, but I'll be breaking it down. I might say a lot in this video, but I'll break some things down for you later, because when somebody put us on the map, especially in the niche in which I cover, I'll talk about. Music has put us on the map. Movies, comedy, Yahoo self put us on the map. That evil thing called Yahoo that's put us on the map. That's why some people will say you find Nigerians in every phase of life. You keep saying it. It is evil to do that. Please desist from it. It is robbery and it's still robbery. Medicine has put us on the map. We have one of the best doctors in the world. Education has put us on the map. Here we have a Nigerian, a young Nigerian, putting us on the map. He has represented Nigeria in 2021 FIA Academy Trophy. He represented Nigeria in 2022 FIA Motorsport Games. He represented Nigeria in 2023 Tillotson T4 Nations Cup. Now, there are so many competitions this young boy could have represented Nigeria in. Funding has taken a lot of it, because Formula One itself, in general, Formula One, anything that is attached to Formula One is an elite sport. It's an expensive sport. A family pushing their son, pushing themselves, because when your son is in Formula One, I tell you, you will follow that child anywhere, because you need to protect your child, especially a black child, because there are so many things that will go wrong there. So you need to be there for your child, which means the parents will not be able to get on cool job for themselves to keep pushing their children. Most of them need to follow the children, so they look for sponsors, because we're talking about young kids here and it's easy to pollute their mind. I'm saying this because I have to be calm saying it. Something I think we should all look at. This boy is representing Nigeria on the world stage in karting, and at 16 is getting closer to getting to Formula One, and I believe karting is not the last thing he wants to do. And with your help, with our help, we can get him there. I'll still talk about him more, like I said, for the end of this video. I'll talk about him more. If you want to hear about him more, at the end of the video, you would hear more. Now, Qatar Grand Prix. Red Bull have won the championship already, so that one is sealed. They've won the Constructors Championship. That one, at this point, Osoro Loriemo, nothing on it. Now they are going for the Drivers' Championship, in which we know they've won. Either they win in Qatar or they win in Dubai. They've won. Forget about it. They've won. But the thing here is this. They are still fighting for the second position, in which Lewis Hamilton is about 20-something points behind Sergio Perez. Will Lewis Hamilton be able to gain those points too, to clean the second position? Hoping Mercedes will be able to bring a better car next year. We don't know yet. We still have like 5 races to the end of the season. So let's see how that pans out. But it's going to be fun. It's going to be fun. So we have 6 races to the end of the season. Killed 6 races to the end of the season. So it's going to be fun. Let's see how that pans out in the next 6 races. Some call it Losail, some call it Losail. It depends on where you're from and where you're calling it from. So the Losail track is a 57-lap race with a track length of 5.38 kilometers, race distance of 366 kilometers, and lap record of 1 minute 23 seconds and a 10. Now let me break some of these things down to you. Now on that track, the main straight alone is a 1.068 kilometers. So that is a whole lot of ground for overtaking, a whole lot of room for overtaking, which makes it more interesting. But the Losail track contains the medium and high speed corners, which makes it a very fast track, a very interesting track to drive on, and is on the outskirts of the capital city of Doha. Actually, that track was started in 2003 and it was completed in 2004, and the first ever event to be hosted there was a MotoGP event. Now, the track was built for MotoGP. That's the truth. The first Formula One race there was 2021. Now, the track was built for MotoGP, but it's a Formula One grade track. I'll I'll be making some videos to talk about the grades of tracks. Now, we have 4 Gulf countries, 4 out of 6 hosting Formula One. You think it's magic? You think it's a joke? No, they prepared for it. These guys are looking at how to invest in their non-oil sector. They have oil. They've used their oil to build stadiums, to build tracks, to build a lot of things. Now, they're trying to bring more investors after seeing what Dubai did. That's the UAE, what they did. Now, UAE makes 79% of their revenue, GDP, economic revenue, from non-oil sector. 79% from non-oil sector. They play. I'll talk about that. Now, this year, the Qatari government have signed a 10-year deal extension for that track. So they want to remain on the Formula One calendar for 10 years. Those guys are smart. 10 years, more investors will be going there to see more opportunities. Now they will be spending money to build more catching areas, more things for people to come and see, more opportunities, investments for people to come and invest in sand dunes, in desert, yeah, which is what is trending now. Dubai has opened everybody's eyes, so they're all seeing it like, man, there is opportunity here, and everybody is really going down there. Now, there has been an extensive repair work on that track by the Qatari Public Works Authority, ASHGAL, and they're having a brand new look and a state-of-art facility to aim and enhance the experience for both teams and fans. Right there, they want to make it more interesting. That is what they did in Saudi Arabia this year. They've made the fan experience, the driver experience more interesting. It's much more better, and they're doing something much more interesting next year, because as the Dubai, that's the UAE track, will be closing Formula One races. Saudi Arabia, they are trying to launch a bit to be opening F1 races for the year. That's funny, yeah, because they are looking at opportunities, a lot of opportunities. Now, some of the changes they've made is that for them to accommodate about 40,000 more spectators, additional 15,000 parking space have been created over there. Now, they are introducing a public fan zone alongside the VIP areas, in which they want to give the fans the best of it. To be very, very interesting to have the Qatar Grand Prix getting more interesting. To be very, very interesting for the Qatar Grand Prix, they can accommodate 40,000 spectators, and I'm sure that they are going to increase in no time. Now, looking at the ticketing, the cheapest ticket for 3 days is about 820 euros, but for the premier hospitality for 3 days, about 4,400 euros. The lounge per day is 820. The T2 stand is already sold out. T3 stand sold out. T16 stand sold out. Wow, man, a lot of the tickets are already sold out. Now, performing the post-race concert, we are having AMR Diab, Amar Diab, we're having Superstar Alesso, and Bruno Mars. Those are the guys that will be performing at the event. So let me go back to this. Now, in this region, the Arab states of Persian Gulf, there are majorly 6 countries that signed the pact for the Gulf Cooperation Council in 1981. And those countries are Bahrain, in which there has been a race there this year, Kuwait, Oman, Qatar, in which we're racing now, Saudi Arabia, they've raced earlier this year, and United Arab Emirates. I think 2 or 3 years ago, Iraq is trying to join them. And also of note, Yemen is bound to these 6 countries. It's like glued to them based on history and culture. Now, if you're having 4 from 6 or 7 countries, 4 countries hosting a Formula One race in a year, US itself hosts 3 Formula One races. That's the Miami, the Las Vegas, and the Texas. Wow. I keep saying it. West Africa, we need to do something. Nigeria, we need to do something. We need to get on that map. We need to force ourselves on that map. Most of these Arab, the only thing they have significantly that they make their revenues from is petroleum. But UAE broke forth, as in they broke through. They have been able to successfully diversify their economy. Like I said, 79% of their total GDP now comes from non-oil sectors. The oil sector accounts for only 2%. So we need to get something right. Look at Bahrain. Oil also, but now in Bahrain, they have heavily invested in banking and tourism sector. Banking and tourism. Their country capital is the home to many large financial structures. These guys are investing in human development. They are looking at things that will bring opportunities, fortune to their country, and seeing opportunities beyond their natural resources, which is oil. Now, we have a lot of natural resources. Oil is like a cost to Nigeria. The oil industry has become like a cost to Nigeria. And like I always say, we need to get these things right. We need to put ourselves on the right pedestal. I'm not a political analyst. I'm not a politician, but I'm just saying this because all I am saying is we need to get these things right. We need to put ourselves where we need to be. We have young talent in Africa. We have young talent in Nigeria that can make a change, that can do great things, but we don't invest in those things. We rather still lose because we impoverish ourselves. We are given to bad leaders and so many things. And I hope this leadership gets it right. And I hope they think in this aspect. We are able to invest in Formula One. And I can tell you, it's a good investment that will change the way our country is. I've just cited 4 countries from the Gulf Cooperation Council that are hosting Formula One. No African country now is hosting Formula One. None. South Africa hosted for like 20 something years or close to 30 years. They've been trying to come back on the map for Formula One, but they've not really gotten it right. In some videos I've done before, I've talked about that. The issue South Africa is having. Morocco has hosted once, and that is the north and the south. The northern part, Morocco, the southern part of Africa, South Africa, that have hosted races. But West Africa, Nigeria being the giant of Africa, we've not been able to do that. I think we need to look at that and we need to get it right. We need to do it. We need to do it. We need to do it. Now, talking about Philip, because it's important we get him there. Some people might complain that yes, it's not in Nigeria. We don't recognize karting in Nigeria. It's not a sport yet in Nigeria. It's something for pleasure. It's a game. It's not a sport. His parents looked at the future of their son and they want to make a change, create a name. Tobi Amusan had to leave Nigeria to become successful because she needs to have good training, great coaches, people to work with. The same way this young man, his parents took him out of Nigeria, was given birth to in Europe. Now they are trying to make sure he put Nigeria on the pedestal, on that map in the world, in karting and in Formula One very soon. And with proper funding, with proper training, getting him what he needs to challenge and to get a Formula Renault car next year or in 2025 should be the next thing on our target. If he can get a Formula 4 or a Formula 3 drive, I will so much love it because he's already crawling his way into Formula 1. This guy needs our help. He needs to get there. I'll keep talking about it, posting pictures of him like you're seeing now. I'll talk about him, show you some of his videos. Every time I talk about Formula 1 this year, I must say at least 2 minute information or talk about him in it, which should push him. So please, we need sponsors. We have a lot of brands in Nigeria, local brands that can push this boy. And remember, you're pushing him, your brand is also being pushed all around the world. The Dogu Bitters, that's Obi Kubana, Samsung, yeah, Pepsi, Nigerian breweries. I'm talking about it now. You guys need to do something. So let's do something about it. And we are creating a future for Africa. We are creating a future for ourselves. And for some other videos, I'll still talk about a lot of things we need to do to get ourselves, especially in Formula 1 and karting, on the roadmap. I'll talk about it when the season is over, preparing for next season. I'll talk much about those things. As I was saying, there has been only one race in Qatar, and that race was only 2021. Now, to give you the breakdown of how the race went down, it was just a wonderful qualifying, a very beautiful qualifying. And I'll say it like this: it's one of the best qualifyings we've ever seen. And the stunning pole lap from Lewis Hamilton, clocking 1 minute 20 seconds and about 8 tenths, with Max Verstappen 5 tenths behind him. And Mercedes have been the only team that have won a race there. Lewis Hamilton have won a race there. But certainly this year, Mercedes are not even close. With the nature of that circuit, that 1 kilometer straight, Mercedes are not close. They should just forget this one. And that was the first podium for Fernando Alonso in F1 after a 7 years drought in F1. So it was a great run for him. He was begging his teammate to please defend Sergio Perez for him, in which his teammate could not do because that Red Bull is so fast. Not is so fast, it was so fast then. In that year, the Red Bull and the Mercedes, the Red Bull was even faster than the Mercedes that year because the Red Bull had more poles than the Mercedes. The Mercedes were able to come back chasing after the Red Bull in Brazil for pole and for possible wins. The Red Bull were so fast in 2021. That shows how good the Red Bull had been and how they've worked. And getting into this year, it shows that the Red Bull have really worked. They've really gotten themselves to where they are. And for me, I won't trade it for anything. They've really done a good job this year, and Renew especially, giving the Red Bull the most dominant car ever in F1. I'm telling you, that car is just everywhere, and everybody needs to play catch up. The Mercedes, the Ferrari, McLaren, Aston Martin, Williams, they all need to play catch up this year. And next year, I believe it should be more competitive. But remember, the Red Bull team will not sit down and wait for them to come and beat them. While these other teams, they've really learned all through. And if you notice, the Ferrari, for the past 2-3 races, they've been so strong. In the past 3 races, they've been very strong. They've been stronger than Mercedes. Mercedes are now the 4th best team presently. So I think Mercedes should be bringing upgrades in Losail. Because if they're not bringing upgrades, then I don't see how they would be closing in. Because because presently the Constructors Championship and the Drivers Championship, aside from Red Bull, it is so close, very, very close. And if you are looking at the Constructors Championship, is now between the Mercedes and the Ferrari. They are really dragging it out. They are just 20 points apart. The Mercedes is leading the Ferrari with 20 points, which means the Ferrari are very close, very, very close. Meanwhile, McLaren are chasing on the Aston Martin. Remember, before the middle of the season, Aston Martin was second. Now Mercedes ahead of them, Ferrari ahead of them. Now McLaren is chasing them with all their fight, with all the energy they have to get above them. They are just 49 points behind Aston Martin, and 49 points is just like wind in the next 6 races. So there are competitions around from second to fifth. Who is coming second, who is coming third, who is coming fourth, who is coming fifth. So the competition between the Mercedes and the Ferrari, the competition between the Aston Martin and the McLaren. Now there are 3 Mercedes engines here: the Mercedes itself, Aston Martin and McLaren engine, a Ferrari engine, and a Red Bull engine. That's a Red Bull Honda engine. So it is a very tight battle. And if you are looking at the Drivers' Championship also, is a tight situation between the Red Bull, Sergio Perez, and Lewis Hamilton. They are just 33 points apart. And now Red Bull are saying they will give Sergio Perez everything to make sure he wins. They will do this, they will do that. He's all doing. How well are they ready to give him everything to get the job done? That is left to them. And here, if the Mercedes are bringing upgrade for this race, it makes it more tougher for Sergio Perez in the race. And next in line are the 2 Spanish competitors racing for different teams on the grid. That's Fernando Alonso, Aston Martin, and Carlos Sainz, Ferrari. They are just 24 points apart. That's a close, tight battle in which Carlos Sainz is having another close, tight battle with his teammate, who is just 15 points behind him. And that is another battle for the fourth, certainly. These ones are not battling for third. They are battling for fourth, even though Fernando Alonso is just 24 points behind Lewis Hamilton. Now, the momentum is in Lewis Hamilton's favor because they've come ahead of them. They are fighting to nail to get the second position in the championship. So I believe they should be bringing upgrades for Losail, I think. And in the Constructors Championship, the momentum is falling into the hands of the Ferrari because they've been up there. They've been working hard to get ahead of the Mercedes. Now, another battle is between Lando Norris and George Russell. And at this point, they are both 7th and 8th, and they are having the same points, 115 points each. Now, the momentum is highly on the McLaren side. They are having the bigger, greater, wonderful momentum because they are like 6/10 to 8/10 ahead of the Mercedes. So the Mercedes needs upgrade to bring George Russell back ahead of Lando Norris and possibly leading on strongly to the second place in the Constructors Championship. So they need George Russell, they need upgrades, and they need to work. The Mercedes team needs to work. Remember, they are both using Mercedes engine. So it's going to be funny. Really, it's going to be funny. And let's see how that pans out this weekend. And this weekend is a sprint weekend. This is the 4th sprint weekend of the season. And this will be the first sprint weekend under the light. If you follow us, all the races in the Gulf Coast, especially the ones that have been raced earlier this year, that's the Saudi Arabia and the Bahrain, they've always been night race. Now, this is a Qatar race. It's going to be a night race. Now, why do these people love racing at night? It's not just them. Now, the heat in the afternoon, that temperature, that high temperature in the afternoon, I am sure no driver wants to drive in that heat. No tire will last in that heat. I am telling you, it's just natural. That heat, driving 50-something, 40-something laps in that heat can melt somebody's brain. Driver will want to drive because before driving, you need a nice cold bath. After driving, just go and dip yourself in Atlantica for 1 hour. Because even dipping yourself in there for 1 hour, the water there would melt because of the heat already coming out of that body. So they don't want to race in the afternoon because of that heat. Around evening, they start their race around 8 p.m. at night so that the weather will be at least cool. That cool will still be around 30 degrees so that the track temperature itself would have reduced, because racing in the sun, the track temperature would increase. The track would improve. Improving will mean it will heat up, it will get better. And getting better means it will heat the tires better. So it doesn't make sense racing in the afternoon in the Middle East. So it's better if you race at night because it has a lot of effect on the driver, the car, the competition itself. Like I said, to be the first sprint race under the floodlights. So they're going to enjoy the floodlights in sprint race. So the whole thing will pan out like this. Friday, practice 1, and that will be the only practice. The practice 1 will be in the afternoon. Now in the evening, they will have the qualifying for the main race on Sunday. Then on Saturday, the sprint qualifying, that's the SQ1, sprint qualifying 1, sprint qualifying 2, and the sprint qualifying 3. That sprint qualifying will be for the sprint race in the evening. Then the main race on Sunday. Now, Max Verstappen Verstappen could win his championship, which I know he will win because there's no way Sergio Perez would beat him anyway. He has the momentum. He's driving fine. And it's possible he wins championship immediately after the sprint race, because if he comes first in the sprint race and Sergio Perez comes like third or fourth, forget, he has won it. So Sergio Perez needs to win the sprint race and win the main race, and Max Verstappen should be like 7th and 7th in both races. That's the sprint race and the main race. But I don't see that happening. Seriously, I don't see that happening. Max Verstappen is winning his championship after the sprint race, immediately after the sprint race, before the main race. Is winning his championship, and the championship will be rounded up, and that one is gone. Let's see what happens. But this one is already done and dusted. It's done and dusted. So now we're having the Ferrari. Now, let me tell you, in all this, I've said it before in one of my podcasts, that in any sprint race the Ferraris are running, they've been great this year. All the sprint races, they've been great. And since I said it, that I think they watch my podcast, that they don't need to change their setup. The setup they make for FP1 is good for them all through the weekend. I think they've really improved. If they can make a good FP1 setup, which might be compromised there because this is a different race, and I'll explain to you. If they have a good FP1 setup, then they might have a good race. And having a good race, yeah, it depends on the straight line speed. And I'm telling you, the Williams are coming for them. Why would they be different here? Because they will be setting up for FP1 in the sun. So the temperature will be totally different in the evening that they will be running the qualifying. And on Saturday, the sprint qualifying will be in the sun. The sprint race will be in the evening. So it will be difficult to learn. So I think Ferrari will make a lot of changes all through. They will still make a lot of changes so as to blend in, which might compromise their race. I think their race will be compromised on Sunday. But certainly they need to get it right. Now, on the Williams this season, they have the best straight line speed. So they are coming after everybody. And remember, if any of the Williams are ahead of you for the sprint race and the main race, it will be difficult to overtake them even with DRS. I am telling you, in this race, Red Bull will even find it difficult to overtake the Williams. It's a full 1 kilometer stretch. Without the DRS, they are fast. If they now come under the DRS of any car ahead of them, any car behind them should just forget overtaking them. I'm telling you. And that space is a very fast flowing corner. The Mercedes, for them to do well in that race, they need to work on their downforce and their aerodynamics. They need to bring upgrades. So I'm certain they will be bringing upgrades for them to have a good straight line speed and for them to be able to hold back any threat. If they don't bring upgrades, Ferrari, McLaren, even Aston Martin will put the Mercedes behind 100%. So the Mercedes fan just know this. If Mercedes don't come with upgrade, we can't know if they're coming with upgrade now until Thursday evening or Friday morning. That's when we would know. But certainly Mercedes needs to come with upgrades for that race. But if I've not posted this video by Thursday morning, then I'll try and get updates on who is bringing upgrades so I can add it towards the end of this video, so I can post it on Thursday evening so that you can see this video. But I'm certain Mercedes should bring upgrades. I'm not sure Ferrari and McLaren are bringing upgrades because they are fast enough. They're even closer to the Red Bull than they think. It's just the confidence they are losing now. They're closer to the Red Bull than they think. They are like 5/10 away from the Red Bull. Even McLaren are like 4/10 from the Red Bull. And on straight line speed, with that straight line in Losail, I think the McLaren should be very, very close to the Red Bull. They'll give a Red Bull a run for their money, 100%. Qualifying, sprint qualifying, race qualifying is Red Bull all the way. I can't tell you now until I see the upgrades Mercedes are bringing, but I think there's a possibility it's going to be a fight between the Ferrari, the McLaren, and the Mercedes for the 2 and 3 and 4, 5, 6 on the grid for the main race and for the sprint race. But I think probably the Mercedes should be coming second because of the experience. I believe they'll be bringing upgrades because I wish they come second in this championship. I wish them coming second because they've really struggled and they've really improved throughout this season. Now lacking upgrades is taking them back. And I also wish the McLaren the best to get ahead, but it will be difficult for them getting ahead of the Ferrari. So if McLaren will find it difficult, because I love those young guys, the Lando Norris and Oscar Piastri, they are doing a beautiful job. Also, I love the Ferrari guys, they are doing a wonderful job, especially Carlos Sainz. He has fought back and is able to be ahead of his teammate. Yeah, he understood the car better than his teammate and is getting closer and closer to Fernando Alonso. So I also wish them well. So I'm wishing 3 teams well. Christ, how will I do it? These guys are wonderful. And I'm even wishing Alex Albon of Williams well. Oh, jeez. And I'm even thinking of AlphaTauri, Liam Lawson. Oh, these guys are just going to put me in. Oh, guys, I wish you all well. All the 20 drivers, I wish you all well. You guys are great. Damn. I wish you all well. But this is going to be epic, I think. Aside from the Red Bull that will be running ahead, lonely at the top, running their own race. But it's going to be epic. An epic sprint race and a very wonderful main race. Behind Max Verstappen is going to be an epic race. And like I said, watching this race, the qualifying, the sprint race, and the main race under the light is something that's going to be too beautiful to behold. And Qatar are like about 3.5 hours ahead of us, so it will be a wonderful race, I believe. We should start watching the race here around 6 p.m. in the evening, around 4 to 6 p.m. in the evening, so we'll know the time. In the news again is the Qatar Airways having a collaboration with BWT Alpine. Now, the Alpine are bringing Qatar Airways as a brand ambassador. Now, Qatar Airways are brand ambassador for F1. Qatar Airways, be my brand ambassador now. I'm calling you guys out now. Qatar Airways, I want to be your brand ambassador. Oh yeah, come. Even Saudi Arabia Airways, Etihad Airways, I want to be your brand ambassador. Seriously, calling you guys out. Are you looking at me? Yeah, okay, fine. So they are going to be working with Alpine, and I think Alpine should be having either a new livery on their car, in which I'm not sure they will be putting on a livery on their car, possibly because they're having 2 liveries this year. But I think they should be doing some liveries on their helmet. The driver should be doing some liveries on their helmet to promote the brand, and I think they should be adding Qatar Airways on their car also. But I'm not sure, but possibly they might bring a new livery. We don't know yet, but I think it should be the helmet. It should be doing that one. Now, to the biggest news now, Andretti in Formula 1. Now, officially, the FIA have looked at it. It's been coming along. I think I said that about 20 or 30 videos ago, that the Andretti team will be the only team admitted for 2025 season in F1. But now they've been looked at, and the FIA said Andretti is qualified, but they need to look at the FOM, which consists of the F1 itself, to look at what they are bringing to the table. And I think in May, the Formula 1 CEO, Stefano Domenicali, said for any team to come into F1, they need to look at what they are bringing to the table. And you know what they are talking about? What you are bringing to the table? We are talking about money. Hey. So what are they bringing? Not just the $200 million that they should bring, or even if it is $600 million that they might bring, because other teams brought $200 million. They increased to about $600 million. But are they bringing $200 million or $600 million? We don't know yet. But certainly they are looking at the brands they are bringing to F1 itself and for themselves. And Andretti is an experienced man. He can get it. That man is intelligent. He knows how to do this motorsport business. He's in so many motorsports. He's in FE, 2 different American races right there in America. So he knows how to do it. He will bring brands, he will bring sponsors. And I think the guy really wants to get into it. He's gotten Cadillac as his partner already. So I think they will be doing a terrific job. They will see how they can make sure they get themselves into F1 by fire by force in 2025. So Andretti is coming. Guess who's coming? Andretti. They coming. They are coming hot like coal. Let's watch out for that. For the Andretti team coming into F1 in 2025. And that is going to be more interesting news for F1, because if these big teams are coming, it makes it more competitive, more dynamic, and more interesting. And let me say it again, I won't round up without talking about my own boy, Philip Janos Ghana. Is the Nigerian guy, first Nigerian West African person, my own person, karting in Europe and around the world. Not that we are just wishing him well. We need to gather ourselves. We need to see how we can push this young man. We need to see how we can push him, how we can sponsor him. F1 is an elite sport. It's a sport in which requires a lot of money, a lot of finances. We're putting his email address so you can reach him on his email, and you can also reach him on his phone. I think his manager or his dad should be picking the phone. I know his dad will be his manager now, his family will be his manager. He should have a mechanic. He needs a psychologist and a trainer to work with him. So they will need a lot of money for that. They need a lot of money to register for races. There are some races they will register for like £750, and there are some races they are registering for like £2,000. You will have to pay his mechanic, transportation, pay a lot of money. So for each race they will go for, they will be needing nothing less than £10,000. And like I said earlier, he needs his parents around him, he needs his family around him, so they would not be doing much of work. So they will be looking for sponsors. So they need sponsors at least for every month, for every race. And there are so many races, and the more the races he can be, the more his chances of racing in Formula 4, in Formula 3, in Formula 2 possibly. For me, I'm hoping he races in Formula 1. Seriously, because I want him to get there. That will be the first West African racing in Formula 1. That is going to be a big thing for us. And maybe that would even encourage a lot of people to start investing in F1 racing in Nigeria. And I think you guys are hearing me. Like I said, I would not stop. I will keep shouting. We must invest in F1 by fire, by force. We must. It is a must. It is a must too. So let's watch out for that. Predictions. Sprint race, pole position, main race, Max Verstappen all the way. Forget about it. Max Verstappen all the way. Yeah, Max Verstappen all the way. He's winning the championship. He's wrapping it up, winning it, taking it home immediately after the sprint race. Nobody's contesting that. He will just pack his whole championship and pack in his bag and go home. For me, I want him to win it as soon as possible. So we can now start seeing main fight, except Red Bull want to win because I don't know what else they want to break. They've broken everything, I beg. You've broken everything, so what else do you want to break again? But I think other teams will bring up the fight. Certainly, they're going to bring up the fight. for qualifying, possibly on P2 will be McLaren, and I think the McLaren will be Oscar Piastri. And 3, that's in qualifying. 3, I think should be a Mercedes, Lewis Hamilton. And for the sprint qualifying, I think the roles will change. Will still be Max Verstappen and possibly Lewis Hamilton and Lando Norris third. And for the sprint race, I am seeing a whole win for Max Verstappen, and it will be a tough race for Lewis Hamilton with that McLaren behind him. And I'm not looking at it from anywhere. I'm not dreaming. But like I said, I am seeing a Max Verstappen win the sprint race, Lewis Hamilton second, and possibly a Ferrari third. And Ferrari could be Carlos Sainz. And for the main race, Max Verstappen, Lewis Hamilton, Lando Norris. Take it. Just take it like that. I have not said I have seen a vision, no, but certainly the winner, I have said it. So you can, for those of you that listen to my prediction, to go and bet, I have said my own, no, Max Verstappen all the way. You can permutate the remaining ones behind. Say hi. So, with the 57 lap race in Qatar, we are going to see a lot of tire strategy in which these teams are going to learn a lot. And some will fail, some will fall by the wayside. That is 100%. Now, with the tire, I expect them to use a lot of tires because that heat would be melting a little because we are close to the dry season. So, it's going to be very, very hot, though it will be raced at night. But I think they will use a lot of tires because 2021, Max Verstappen had 3 stops, though his last stop was for the fastest lap because tire structure will be changed now. It will go to C1, C2, C3 for the hard, soft, and the medium, so as to compensate for that. That was the same way I think it was done in 2021. Now, for teams like Mercedes, from what I'm hearing, they won't be bringing upgrades. I said it earlier that I need to get information. Now, Mercedes have released the information that the next major upgrades they'll be bringing will be in Austin, Texas, USA. And I'm like, these guys are chasing for second, and in a race like Qatar Losail race with high speed corners, medium speed corners, and a very, 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 very long straight that spans over 1 kilometer, they are not bringing upgrades. I mean, I don't know for Mercedes, though. I don't know if teams like Ferrari will be bringing upgrades, but they've brought their upgrades 2 races ago, and they brought some bits in the last race in Japan, which has put them ahead of Mercedes. And the McLaren are super fast now. Those ones are in their own league. They're even faster than the Ferrari. As of now, they're faster than the Ferrari. On straight, on high speed corners, they are fast. On medium speed corners, they are more balanced, but they're not as fast as the Red Bull. With the Williams, that is faster on the straight and on the high speed corners, I think it will be a very difficult race for Mercedes, especially for Mercedes fans coming to Losail. But maybe they will tweak their front wings and also bring the low drag rear wings and also work on their beam wings to make changes that I think they needed for the car to give them the downforce they need. But I don't see that downforce really giving them what they want because the major upgrades are coming in Austin. And I think after the upgrades in Austin, they are not bringing much more upgrades again to the track. And what will that bring to them? I think it will bring more complaint from their driver because they need to win. And I also think there will be lots of deleted lap times. Why do I think there will be lots of deleted lap times? They will not have more times to practice, to set the car up, and also trying to scamper for track balance. The track limit on that track will be so marvelously tamed by FIA. So most of the drivers will make a lot of mistakes and a lot of track times will be deleted 100% because tire management will also be a problem, especially during qualifying and during FP1. And from the 2021 race, I think there were 49 overtakes. So there will be lots of overtakes this time, much more following, especially on the straight lines. And for the weather, during the day, from Friday, Saturday, the temperature will be around 40 degrees. That's what I'm talking about. During the day, to be about 40 degrees. But the races will be at night. So we are looking at between 32 degrees to 38 degrees at night. And that is still hot. That is still very hot. So there are no chances of precipitation at all, no rain at all through the weekend. So if they are going to be around 32 to 38 degrees at night, that is going to pose a lot of difficulty for the drivers, especially with tires. And also there will be strong wind. You know, we are in the Gulf Coast now. We are in the Middle East. There will be lots of wind, and we are expecting a wind of around 35 kilometers per hour to 34 kilometers per hour on Friday and Saturday. That will be the strongest wind for the weekend, and I'm sure that will affect the cars. And you can see why I said there will be lots of lap time deletion. They'll delete a lot of lap times because that wind, that strong wind, will affect the way the car behaves, certainly. And on Sunday for the race, we are looking at about 21 kilometers per hour wind, which is not so high, but it still affects the balance of the car. So there'll be a lot of balance issues in Qatar, which will make the race more interesting. We are expecting a very interesting race in Qatar. So let's hope these teams can give us what we expect and can live up to expectation in Qatar. So we know more teams that will be bringing updates, but for you Mercedes fans, I'm sure there will be no updates. For McLaren fans, McLaren will just make some tweaks to the car. They're not bringing major upgrades. And for the Ferrari fans, no upgrades. For the Red Bull fans, tweaks to the car, no upgrade. They've brought their upgrade in Singapore, in which they didn't use. So they brought the upgrades back in Japan. So they've used the upgrades in Japan. So I'm not seeing them bringing any upgrades again for the remainder of the season. They've won everything they want to win. So they can go home. So that's that. Watch out for FP1 qualifying on Friday. Q will love you. Subscribe, like, share, comment. I love you. Bye. Chi.
Gibor gives you power. Gibor gives you control. Gibor gives you benefits. Are you an individual or business that uses fuel or gas? Use Gibor to find the best prices across all retail outlets in your city. For users and businesses that buy volumes, Gibor gives you access to credit. Gibor also gives you the ability to track your costs and monitor expenses per car or fleet. Need to improve your costs, enjoy incentives, or track expense? Gibor is the answer. Enjoy 5% discount on your first 5 purchases when you get your next fuel voucher from Gibor. Log on to www.gibor.co to enjoy this. Retail outlets wanted nationwide.
I have a new friend in the house. We are in Nigeria here, West Africa. He provides internet for us. They provide the best internet around the mainland, and I know they are still moving to the highland and they are moving all around Nigeria. But for you to get internet on the mainland, contact Fibrad Telecom Limited. They get you sorted out ASAP. The best cable internet on the mainland, fiber, I think they get sorted out. We talk much about them in the course of some of our videos, but contact them, they get sorted out.
If you're a builder, if you're an art collector, if you have a showroom, Rated is the best place to get the artworks you need for your new buildings, for your art collections, for your showroom, for your exhibition. Rated Art have one of the best murals, mosaic works, and different art patterns in Nigeria presently. And it's somebody that you can communicate with, talks to you, you tell him what you want, and he will bring the reality out for you. Contact Rated Art. His number is right up here. And you can also go on social media links that are pasted right up here to check out some of his works. Thank you. Teams Gadget. Teams Gadget is for those of you that cannot easily go to the market to get your phones, your laptops, your accessories. Just place a call through. His phone number is there. It gets you the best. It's your shop plug to get you the best phones, accessories, laptops, games, and other accessories for your computer gaming experience. Contact Teams Gadget and you get them for you.